is Deborah the Judge radio podcast all the way from Putnam County, Florida. Yes, Putnam County, Florida, in the northern central section of Florida. So thank you guys once again for tuning in on this podcast. If you're new to the podcast, please understand this is an opinionated podcast. My opinion only, okay? So we can always agree to disagree. But I wanted to come on today and it's a beautiful day here in Florida. I'm just saying, beautiful, 77 degrees. It's just really, really nice. And I went out for my run today. For those who are interested in some other things that I'm doing, and I'll tell you about the dating site that I'm on a little bit later and what happened. But anyway, let's talk about Trump. You know, I'm talking about Trump. Oh, whoa, whoa! Great news. So now Leticia, the DA up in New York, is really upset because the appeal court that Donald Trump appealed to has reduced that bond from $464 million, almost a half a billion, to 175 million. So it's been reduced drastically. And so Trump came out today and said that within the next 10 days, he'll be paying that amount. And of course, he's not going to be paying it to the DA's office. Okay. That money is going to go straight into a court account. So the court is going to be able to hold this money. And so I talked to you guys yesterday about True Social, the website that is open now for people that want to purchase shares of that particular Trump's website. So I'm just really excited about that. But as I said before, these people are playing checkers, and Trump is playing chess. Okay, he's playing to win. Okay, he's strategically playing these people, and they have no idea. See, how you know that you've been played is when you don't know you've been played. Let me say that again. How you know that you've been played is when you don't know that you've been played until it's too late. Then you figure out, damn, I was played. Okay. And that's what Leticia got played. Now, some of you guys probably say, well, they got 175 million. Well, that's just a kick in the bucket. And that's not going to tie him up. That's not going to tie up his campaign finances at all. Okay. And eventually he will get that money back because the appeal court is the one that stepped in. And they realize that if they're doing those type of judgment for civil cases, that people that have businesses and have property and commercial property in New York, they're saying like maybe people are not going to want to come here and open up businesses. Because if we can go in and take a man's money like that and put that bond so high that he's not able to, you know, pay that bond with some substantial amount of what I would say the bond was just substantially too high, basically, okay? Especially when nobody was injured, nobody was hurt. But anyway, yes, so we're celebrating that today. And he's going to pay that money within the next 10 days. And like I said, it just is what it is. And while he's going through the appeal process, and they also, like I said, they gave him an extra 10 days because he was supposed to pay it today. But the appellate judge or the appellate court, they really moved on it really fast. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen in Georgia with Fannie. And I think the appellate court in Georgia is going to move extremely fast as well. And of course, they'll kind of do the same type thing. They're going to look at uh, doing the case. They're going to select a few judges, and then they're going to make a decision on, uh, about the trial, which we know is a shit show. And how we really know it's a shit show is Governor Barnes. Okay, so for those who don't know Governor Barnes used to be the governor, a Democratic governor, one of the very few governors that were Democrat for the state of Georgia. So when Fannie asked Governor Barnes, because he is an attorney, he graduated from Georgia University, Georgia State, was it Georgia State? Georgia State University. Well, he graduated with his law degree as well. And that's the same school that Judge McAfee went to. That's the same school that Governor Kemp went to. Okay, so they all went to graduated from Georgia, I think. I think they did Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Georgia, Georgia University. So with Governor Barnes, I wanted to get back into that. So when you think about it, that's how you know that this whole game is a shit show. Now we know that Governor Barnes is like 77, 78 years, okay? He's up there. But he made the statement to Fannie. He says, look, I don't want to go back and be a part of this because I don't want to have security guarding me for the rest of my life. And you've got to figure, wait a minute, why did you say that? Because why would be security following you for the rest of your life? You're not governor. You know, the governor does get uh, personnel to security personnel to guard them. Okay, but that's while they're in office. He's not in office. Okay, so why would he say that? Especially when he said he did it for 4 years. So in 2000, 1999, I think to 2003, he had security detail or Secret Service or whoever the selective service is that protects the governors. Okay, he had it for 4 years, and he made a statement to Fannie. Look, I had that for 4 years, and I do not want that ever again. Never, never, ever, never. But you got to think about this. So me reviewing his time in office was 2003 is when he left office, right? And then he ended up running, being a senator, and then he had the House of Representatives in Georgia. So he had other political offices that he had. Okay, but then again in 2010 he ran for governor again. So it goes to show you that evidently you having security detail in 2000 from 1999 to 2003 when you said you would you had it for 4 years, you would never do it again, then why would you run for that office in 2010? Okay, if you hate it that much, why would you run again? And of course he lost, but why would he run again? See, that goes to show you that that's not the real reason that he didn't want this case. He didn't want this case because he know this was a shit show, and he didn't want to get involved in it. Period. That's why he didn't want to help Fannie, because he knew it was a shit show. And he also knew that the Republican governors of that state appointed conservative judges to the appeal court in Georgia. So the appeal court in Georgia is mostly conservative. And even though they say they bipartisan, which means that they don't go from one political party to another, they're not biased to any, okay? He knows that. That's why I believe he said, no, Miss Fannie, I'm not going to do that. So Fannie, once again, too, is feeling like I better hurry up and try to convict Trump in Georgia really quick. I need to get this stuff rolling because May, her reelection, she more than likely is going to win. Okay, and the reason why I say that is because those people in Atlanta who are supporting her, they will continue to do it. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You got a certain group of women who will promote her. She has fraternity, soror, not fraternity, but sorority sisters there heavily that will support her and go to bat for her, and they will go out to help campaign for her. So I believe that she is going to win again. The problem with her winning the campaign is that if the legal committees, which is the state bar, decides to disqualify her, it won't make any sense that she ran or not, because they will, if she doesn't have a state's attorney license, she would not be able to continue the case at all. So that is what I'm looking at. What is the state bar going to do? And files paperwork have been filed to the state bar. So that's the main thing we're looking at. Forget all the other stuff that's going on, because ain't no trial gonna happen overnight. And even though she's trying to rush Judge McAfee to hurry up and get the trial going, he's not going to do that, because everybody who has a right to have a trial uh, and who've been waiting for a trial in the state of Georgia in her office that's on the docket have time in before Trump's case. So they can't just jump over the other people who want to hear their cases so they can get the Trump case. It doesn't work that way. There's an order on which those cases are being taken care of. And especially with Judge McAfee, who may or may not get elected, which I think that he probably, it's kind of hard to say. He might get elected. You just never know. But I think in this particular case that he probably may not get elected. That's what I'm thinking. But if he does, it won't be a surprise, because a lot of people are saying, the Republicans are going to not vote for her. And if they only need a certain percentage of Democrats to say, you know what, we tired of Fannie. She done made us look bad, so we really want another person in this particular position. But no, they're not going to rush Trump's case and just forget everybody else that's waiting or have been waiting for months and months. Okay. And with Judge McAfee, as I said before, he's up for re-election too in May. So if he's up for re-election in May and they don't vote him back in, okay, he's not going to have a vested interest whether Donald Trump goes to court or not go to court. He won't have any vested interest in it. Now, if he's still there, it's going to be something, because now he's got to be the one to deal with that. And I don't think he wants to deal with the shit show. Okay, so we're going to wait and see what happens on that. But congratulations to Donald J. Trump, who is just awesome in all of this. Okay. Now, even though he's the king on the chessboard, the queen has got the power. But unfortunately, Fannie doesn't have the power. She lost her power. Okay, so the king is now moving about the board. And all the attorneys, or we call the knights and the bishops, are the ones that's protecting the king right now on the chessboard. And Fannie, ain't nobody protecting her but the pawns, the little bitty pawns. They trying to help poor little Fannie. So anyway, the next thing I want to report, here in Florida, there is a 15-year-old black girl. Okay, her and her friends went to see a movie, coming outside the movie, and this truck rolls around them, blinds them, get out, and a white boy tries to rob her and her friends, and ended up shooting and killing this black girl for no reason, trying to rob her and kill her. And this is a white guy, 16 years old, teenager, blonde hair, blue eye, whatever, life gone just like that. And that's why I tell people, you got to live your life to the fullest. You got to live it to the fullest, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Okay, so for those who are interested in the dating thing that's going on, so I told y'all I am on a dating app, right? So, we had some really, one of the guys I really think is a really nice guy. We have conversations back and forth, right? Hmm. So, of course, I sent him a picture of me, right? With me looking a little sexy, right? Not too sexy, but just enough to kind of make him wonder, you know. It's not about showing everything because you got to leave, ladies, you got to leave something to be desired. You can't just show all your stuff. Just a little something, something, a little sexy something, okay? But anyway, so we have nice little conversation. And a lot of times when you're on these dating sites, people don't give you their real name, okay? They give you a phony name, okay? Which I did. I said that my name was something else. But anyway, so today, yesterday, we said we were going to meet halfway between where he lives and where I live. In about another week and a half, we're going to meet. And so he was just talking, really good things. You know how women love to hear how beautiful you are and this kind of shit, right? And he'll send me a picture. He sent me a picture of him working out at the gym and talking about working out, honey. This boy is working out. That's all I can tell you. He is working out. And he Caucasian, y'all. He Caucasian. Don't tell nobody, right? Don't tell nobody it's a swirl going on. Because, I've been talking about white folks forever, right? Don't tell. But actually, when I saw his picture, this goes to show you, when I saw his picture, I thought he was black. I thought he was just a light-skinned black because he has such a deep tan. So I thought he was black. And then after I continued to, contact him and talk to him, I'm like, this guy talks like he texts like he white. He don't text like he black. It's a difference how black men talk versus how white men talk. It's just a whole different type of conversation, right? Because black men, when they talk to you, they first thing that come out their mouth is, "I want to lick you down." That's not what they're gonna say, okay? Because black men especially always think that they a powerhouse down below, right? So they always want to talk about what they gonna do with their special purpose, right? But anyway, so we have a good conversation, everything. So yesterday evening, I asked him, I said, well, send me your full name and your date of birth. Okay. Now we're supposed to be meeting in about another week and a half for like coffee or light lunch or something like that, halfway between where I live and where he lives. So I said to myself, you know what? Why do I want to drive 45 minutes and then we sit and talking to coffee and I'm asking him all these questions and shit when I could just go ahead and find out his real name, his date of birth, and go online and Google that shit for myself so I could see if he got a criminal record or pedophilia or beat up his wife or whatever. So I sent him that yesterday, and today I'm still waiting on a response. See, it just goes to show you when you think everything is good and cool and whatever. And I'm saying to myself, now you haven't responded back since I asked you that. But any other time he respond right back, right? Respond right back. But now he didn't really respond right back. So he could have something else going on today. But I'll give him, till tomorrow to respond back. But if he didn't, then I know he's probably thinking, what does she want my date of birth for? Date of birth. Well, the bottom line is this. When you get to know somebody, especially if you're going to be intimate with that person, you want to know who they are. That's common sense. That's not being nosy. That's knowing. And I know probably a person would probably say, anything that you want to know from me, since I'm honest and open, I'll tell you, well, I'm honest and open too. So I want to know. So I can Google that shit up. I'm a Google queen and investigator. Y'all know I'm a nurse investigator, so I can investigate shit like that. Do resources and shit where most people don't pay attention to, and look at all of that stuff from Linkline and different things of that kind of nature, what the average person wouldn't be thinking about. But we'll see what happens after that. But anyway, I'm getting ready to get out of here. It's a beautiful day, and I walked this morning. This is my fourth week. I mean, not my fourth week. I'm going into my fifth week of walking. And I'm telling you right now, I do feel it. I really do. I do feel a different change in my body. I don't know what the change is, but I know that there's some changes that are going on. And I think that once you reach a certain age, especially when you retire, there's no such thing as retire. You got to keep moving I noticed that a lot of people that live in the area that I live in are retired, elderly retired people. And a lot of these people are dead and gone since I've been here. There's so many people that are dying. So many people that have different illnesses and sicknesses and stuff. And it's a shame because you work all your life to get ready to retire, and now you're sick and you can't enjoy it. And the little money that you have, you can't, take vacations and travel and eat and do all this kind of stuff because you worried about paying medical bills. It's really sad the way this is set up. But there is always a way that if you are an elderly person and you got medical bills or you have to go to the doctor, there's different ways of things that you can do so that you don't get your house taken. Okay, because any person who's retired, or let's just say that has to go into a nursing home, if you have a parent that you're responsible for and that parent goes into the nursing home and that parent has income or that parent has a home, the nursing home is going to confiscate that so they could get paid. And they have a right to do that. That's a legality, that's a right. So if you have a family member that you're taking care of, it's best that before you put them in a nursing home, you take that money out, or you sell that home, or you put it in a special fund, a trust fund, or whatever it is that you need to do in order so that they can't take that money. And that's what I tell you about knowing the system. Somebody might say, that's just wrong. No, you got to know the system. That's why Donald Trump continues to succeed because he knows the system. And if he doesn't know the system, he has people around him that know the system. That's why he have great attorneys. How I was able to get a lot of things done in my life and not beat out of certain things is because I hired attorneys. And you don't want to pay a lot of money because to retain an attorney starts at $2,500. But if you don't have an attorney and think you're going to go up in court and you're going to talk to the judge on your behalf, that shit will never work itself out because you don't know the lingo, you don't know the language that's being used, you don't know the loopholes that are being done. And when I was living in Georgia and was selling my home, I had a problem with these dirty motherfuckers who came into the house who said they wanted to purchase the house. So I was like, okay, you're selling your house, you meet with people, they come in, whatever, and says, okay, well, we want to give you a contract, whatever, to buy your house. Come to find out, in the fine line, that's why you got to watch the fine line. In the fine line, they didn't really want to buy my house. What they wanted to do is to get my house, update it, put some money in it, update it, and then they wanted to sell it. But at the same time, they wanted me to still stay in the property while they do the rehab. And so I looked after I signed it, I looked at the bottom. That's what I say about you sign stuff and you think that people are looking out for your benefit because they're supposed to be representing you. The realtor was supposed to be representing me. I'm thinking, that the paperwork is where it should be. But when you start reading 10, 15, 20 pages of paperwork, sometimes we skip over that shit. But we really should take the time to read it or get an attorney to read it to make sure it's okay. But come to find out, that was in the fine, fine line that they really were not wanting to purchase it. They wanted to sell it. They wanted to be the middleman. And I told them, I said, but after I signed it, and I told the female, I said, no, I said, I'm looking here and I'm reading this. That's after I signed it, right? I said, no, I said, go ahead and tear this contract up. Because you get like 3 days or 72 hours, right? I said, go ahead and tear this contract up. I said, because I am not going to have people coming in my house, especially during COVID, trying to fix and repair and remodel. It can take 5 or 6 months, whatever. And then you guys are trying to sell it. So in other words, you're going to try to buy it from me for, let's say, 100 and let's say for $220, and then you want to do the rehab and then sell it for 450 grand. So that's money that they would make. Okay, and I probably would make 80 or 100,000 too because I bought the house long, long, long time ago. So I had a lot of equity that was built up. But after I realized that they were really the middleman, so I told the lady who's a realtor, I said, no, I don't want to do this. How about what this bitch did? She never sent me the paperwork. After about 2 days, I contacted her. I said, you're supposed to be sending me, the paperwork saying that, I didn't want the contract. She sent me the paperwork saying that she no longer represents me. I'm like, wait a minute. You sending me the paperwork. I'm looking at the paperwork. The paperwork says you're no longer representing me. I said, I didn't ask you not to represent me. What I asked you is to tear up this paperwork. You can still help me to sell my house, but not to that person who wants to buy it, because that's like a shady deal that I don't want to get involved in. She said, well, I don't have anything else to do with it. In other words, you need to get somebody else if you want to help you sell your house. I'm like, wow. So anyway, I got me another realtor to help me sell the house. And we got somebody to get the house. We were getting ready to close on the house. And they pulled up the information on the house and come to find out that these motherfuckers put a lien on my property. The original guy who wanted to buy it, who I said, no, I don't want to. What they did is when the lady came, the female real estate lady came, and the first real estate lady came, and I signed the contract, and I told her I didn't want it. This was the weekend, Saturday. Monday damn morning, as when I looked back through the paperwork of the guy who put the lien on my home, they went down the next day to the court and filed a lien on the property. And I had no idea that they put a lien on my property. I was just under the impression that the lady said, well, I'm no longer representing you. You didn't want the house, so you can get somebody else to, basically represent you. And I couldn't understand why would she do that. I'm still want to sell the house, right? But I should have picked up on something at that point. But anyway, so when I found out that they put a lien on the property, I was like, let me call them. And I called them, along with the attorney of the people that I was selling the house with, the attorney. And I think it was like Keller and Keller Real Estate Company, whatever. But anyway, and so the information that they gave them was that there was a lien on the house and that they were in a contract with me. So they were still in the contract with me. I'm like, and I told them, I said, I'm not in no contract with them. I already told them I didn't want to be a part of the contract, to tear the contract up. But instead, what they did, they ran down to the courthouse and put a lien on my property. So so she told me, she said, well, we can't sell your house because there's a lien until you get the lien removed. So I contacted her and I says, they got a lien on my property. I need to get the lien removed. So she's gonna tell me, well, I had nothing to do with it. So I contacted the guy that I'm supposed to be in the contract with. I said, you put a lien on my property? Well, yeah, we in a contract and we in a contract together and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, we're not in a contract. So I knew then, I was like, okay. I said, I'm not in a contract with you, period. And then they said, well, you are in a contract. And then he had an attorney to send me some nasty little letter talking about if they don't have access to come in the house to do the repairs and stuff like that, they're going to take me to court. I said, okay, bitch. So I looked online and found me like one of the best lawyers in fucking Atlanta, real estate attorneys, okay? And that's what I say. When you got good representation, okay? But if I was trying to do this shit myself, go down to the court, fill the paperwork out, I've been fucked. So I had to, what? I had to pay that money now, the retainer fee, in order to get that attorney to represent me. But once you have a attorney representing you, especially if it's a great attorney, because I looked at the credentials and shit. Again, we got Georgia State attorneys, Emory University, my alma mater. Okay, so I made sure that when I looked at these attorneys, I'm looking at the cases that they won. How many did they win? How many did they lose? Blah blah blah. This. So that's why I had to pay that particular amount of money down in order to retain them. So they start working on the case and shit. I gave them all the information, this and that. And how about, as the case goes on, come to find out that the lady who was my agent was married to the guy who I had the contract with who wanted to buy the house. So these two motherfuckers working together. And see, in the state of Georgia, if you are a real estate agent, you can't represent both parties. You got to represent one or the other. And if you do represent, you got to put a disclosure saying that, hey, I represent this person too. I represent this contractor that, that wants you to sign this contract. And she failed to do that. And how I found out? Because I'm a nurse fucking investigator. That's how. So I looked up all that shit on her. I went online, went on social media. That's how I found out they was married. She was on social media and shit, posting. I just closed the deal. Talking about my house. This is after she left and after I told her to cancel contract. So of course I screenshot all of that. I had all of that information, screenshot everything, all the information of where she worked, who she worked for, and who her license was with, and all. I mean, I had every damn thing. Because like I said, I work as a nurse investigator for the federal government. So I know my shit when it comes to investigation, right? So I had everything on. Then I put all his shit up. Got all his information, all the properties he was involved with. Went down, got the court information of anybody filing anything against him, anything against her of dirty deeds. And what I found out was that they buy properties after people lose them. Like when somebody goes into a foreclosure, they ended up buying their property and then they turn around and sell it. So these are, even though it's a legit business to do that, these are still the do-dirties. I call them the do-dirties, take advantage of people when they find themselves in a bad situation. When they find themselves in a bad situation. And come to find out, there was another lady as well. Once my case got over, I contacted her. And she said they did her the same way. But they made her stay in the contract. And she had to sell her house for little to nothing. They thought they had me. Because when they was corresponding with me, it was like a smart aleck type of conversation. Like, bitch, we know we got you. You ain't gonna do shit because we got you. You. But I took all of that information down. I started looking at the Georgia laws, the real estate laws, and things like. Start studying all of that shit. And so me and the attorneys, we got together and I sent them all the information. They said, "Damn," he said, you making this. We're gonna really be able to move this really fast because you got a lot of this stuff already that you've already uh, uh, looked up yourself. So we had all the information. Then I wrote a letter to the state bar, real estate bar on that bitch. Okay, for them to do an investigation of her. It took them a few months, okay? And once they investigated her, they ended up making her. They didn't disbar her, which I wish they had her, but they didn't disbar her, but they made her go back to school and take classes and all this kind of shit, right? But my attorneys were able to get me from up under that contract. Now I spent about 10 grand in having to do that. And so they have to pay the attorney fees that I spent because the contract that I signed with him says that if the deal doesn't go through for whatever reason and it's their fault, then they have to pay me. Of course, they haven't paid me. And of course, I could go back and file judgment for them to pay for 10,000, but it wouldn't be worth it to me. Time, effort, and energy. Okay, because I figured it's okay. Soon along the way, guess what? Y'all ass gonna get it from somebody else as well. But I screwed her. She thought she screwed me, but I screwed her ass. Because she just had been doing it before to older people, elderly people that didn't know the law, didn't have anybody to help them, or people that was, didn't understand how the legality and real estate selling a property went. So they just went through a lot of people and did that shit too. But the buck stopped at this bitch, okay? The buck stopped. And the attorney who was a judge, she was like a temporary judge in the county that, in another county. And she sent me this nasty little letter. She was representing him. So she sent me this nasty little letter, during the process of me having, right before I got my attorney saying, if you don't go back into the contract with him, If you don't go back into the contract, then we're going to take you to court. We're gonna sue you. We're gonna do all this shit to you. So that's when I got my attorney and shit. And then when he had my attorney contacted that attorney, she was all nice and shit to my attorney and shit. I was like, bitch, see, trying to talk to me and threaten me like shit. But now you see, I got a powerhouse motherfucking attorney and shit that ain't no joke. Standing all 10 toes on your ass. Now you treating him with respect. And she was a black judge, okay? And the people that was doing it was black. So I learned my lesson from that shit. But anyway, that's my experience. And with life, you go through shit. But it was worth it. I was able to finally go back in again and get a real realtor, the person that was representing me uh, when I was trying to sell it the second time. I went back and got him again, and he was able to. I was able to sell the house in Georgia, and I was able to get the money from that house and move here to Florida and pay cash for a mobile home trailer. Because as an older person, I said, I'm not going to pay no more mortgage. I see all these old people down here still struggling trying to pay mortgage or trying to pay. I'm not. I was like, fuck that. I got enough money in here where I can buy me a nice, decent little trailer. I ain't trying to impress no motherfucker. As long as I got a place to stay and I got a nice lake view. Y'all seen the lake view and shit, right? Quiet, nice little area with the animals and shit. Tweet, tweet the birds and shit. The deer come on the property. Yes, I got a family of deer, 3 deers that come on the property all the time. I got Mr. Alligator back out there. Mr. Alligator, and I think Mr. Alligator got a baby alligator, but the baby alligator is about 5 feet. Mr. Alligator is about 9 feet, but he ain't gonna be out there too much longer, cause I got neighbors that live around this area, and they eat alligator meat. They like that shit. Now I've eaten alligator tails before, and they don't taste really bad, whatever. But it's just the idea of eating gators. It's something about reptiles. It just don't sit right with me. Gators and snakes and shit. I don't want to eat that rats and shit. Rodent. I just don't want to eat that kind of shit. I mean, if you eat it, that's fine. Possums. I don't want to. I mean, birds. Yeah, chickens type shit. Cows and shit. That's the kind of fish. I don't even want to eat as much as I like crabs and crab legs and shit. I stopped eating that shit because they're bottom feeders. They're bottom feeders. That means they eat the dirt of the ocean. They go to the bottom and they taste so good, buttered crab legs and shit. But I stopped eating it uh, because they're bottom feeders. So they eat all the dead shit or the crumb of the sea. But anyway, I'm getting ready to get out of here. I just wanted to share some experiences that I've had, and hopefully that if you ever go through this situation, you know, you will get you a good attorney. Don't try to do your shit yourself. You ain't that smart, okay? Peace and love, and congratulations to Donald Trump to his decrease from 464 to 175 million that he has got to come up with. That's what the hell I'm talking about. But anyway, one love. You guys take care.